Well, the danger of repeated head injuries in contact sport is receiving national attention, and as a new initiative is rolled out for people affected by chronic traumatic encephalopathy. I think I got that. Or CTE, as it's known more commonly.
Yeah, Dementia Australia and Connectors Australia have partnered for the groundbreaking support and prevention program. And to tell us more, I'm pleased to say we're joined by Connectors Australia Director Sarah Willey and NRL legend Ian Roberts here with us in studio. Morning to you both. Sarah, to you first. Can you explain exactly what CTE is and what it means for people suffering?
So CTE is a neurodegenerative disease, and basically it's a disease of the brain that is, it's from brain damage, it's irreversible, and we know that unfortunately it leads to that memory loss, behavioural changes, and it also comes in that, it eventuates to that dementia-like form. And I think for CTE, we really now know that once it is advancing, it can lead to the dementia.
Sarah, what's this pilot program going to look like?
Okay, so the pilot program was an initiative originally proposed to the government to roll out more support for people living across the country that actually were living with suspected or probable CTE. So we now know the research is out there enough to say there are ways to clinically intervene and support people living with the condition. But what we were struggling with, it was across the country, people were living in isolation. So this program was rolled out by Associate Professor Rowena Mobbs, and then I came on board and we took a really clinically informed approach to make sure it was specialist driven, but also with allied health support. And then we partnered with Dementia Australia because Dementia Australia were leading the way with the Australian government funding for this support program.
All right, Ian, you've recently joined Connectors as an ambassador. Why was this cause so important for you?
Because, I mean, the science is in. There's no denying the potentially catastrophic effects of CTE and potential head trauma. And I just feel like it's up to us to have these conversations, these awkward conversations, particularly for men, to own this type of thing. And I really believe it's up to our generation and then generations before me to stop the future generations having to endure some of what our generations have had to put up with. And like, you know, we're talking about. I think Sarah, hi Sarah, I think Sarah just hit the nail on the head when she said brain damage. Yeah. That's what we're talking about. That's a big statement, right? Brain damage has that ring of, terror. And particularly men, I mean, this is an awkward conversation to have. Like, you know, men like to be in control or give that, that show of being, being about themselves. And, sometimes, you know, like for men to be vulnerable and allow themselves to be vulnerable and speak about that in itself is a huge conversation to have and a place to start. And I keep saying that the science is in. There's no denying this anymore. Like, you know, we've had those true champions like the King, like Wally Lewis, talking about this, with Mario Fenech, you know, like no one likes to see our heroes endure any of this stuff, but it isn't just our heroes. It's just the people who have played park football and now, you know, like who don't get any sort of publicity or profile are dealing with this privately, and families at home are dealing with this privately. You know, like it's a conversation we have to keep having. We have to keep pushing. Make sure the government knows this is a real concern.
You're absolutely spot on, Sarah. CTE can only definitively, I guess you'd say, being diagnosed after death. What impact does this have on securing funding and treatment?
So I guess we're really fortunate in Australia, particularly because we've got some evidence there to well, we know, as you've just said, it can only be diagnosed clinically post-mortem. But the thing is, if people are passing away with the disease, they're living with the disease. And this disease doesn't just manifest upon death. People are living with this for decades. So I guess for me, and living through this disease, because I'm a wife of someone who has probable CTE, and this is how I became involved, you can see the long-standing decline. So we want, and my husband asked for help for years, so we want people to get the information. If you had some symptoms of, say, cancer or another healthcare condition, you would go to your GP, you would have the investigations, you would have treatment, and you would have support. It's that simple. What we want is the same for CTE. We want people to go to their GPs, they report their concussion and their head impact history. We need to be really clear, this is not just a concussion issue, this is repetitive head impacts. They go to their GP, they get referred on for specialist treatment. There are ways our specialists can look now at looking at the progressive course, looking at clinical features along with that history, and determine if there's some sort of pattern there that would be suggestive of a degenerative disease. And then you plug them into the right intervention, which is obviously a lot of the time your medication, your medical support, and all that sort of pathway. And then you go on and you get your support like you would if you had another healthcare problem.
Absolutely. Support's so important. Prevention also incredibly important too, right, Ian?
Could I just say, Sarah, you are a champion. I mean, Sarah has been dealing with this privately in her families. Sarah, thank you, thank you, thank you. You are like such a champion. And like, these are the types of conversations and people, we need people to stand up and say enough's enough. You know?
So these conversations need to be had within rugby league, within sport in general?
With all the major sporting bodies, every major sporting bodies, and that's men and women.
Right.
Yeah, well
Ian.
said. Great to have you on today. Very important
pleasure.
topic, Sarah and Ian. Thank you.
Thank you both for your time. Well, more than 1 million Australians are about to get a boost to their super, and it's all thanks to new